listening to the Chartographers.
You are listening to the Chartographers. It is a music-loving podcast for music-loving people. We dig every single album by a particular artist, and we rank it from worstest to firstest. And guys, let me tell you something. The thing when we started this podcast, when we did the first season ranking the discographies of artists that we like, it was that artists that we like, artists that we could speak from a great place of authority from. Now we're in our third season, and we're basically doing cold dives sometimes into artists that we're kind of familiar with, or kind of, whatever. And sometimes these dives have revelations. When we did our Whitney Houston episode, I think we kind of went in with a preconceived notion of just like, she's a famous pop singer, there's the Bobby Brown thing and drugs, but she's a really well-known singer. And then we dive into the story and it's like, oh my god, she's one of the greatest vocalists of all time. Her story is tragic beyond all compare. Like, there's just so much into it, and it was just a great reveal. And I feel like that's kind of a similar thing that happened with this week. When we talked about an artist who you might think of as like a gay icon and really super fluffy pop hits and, things like that. But then when you dive into it, you're like, oh my god, he was a legitimately talented musician beyond all compare. And also, he had a surprising and deep secret that he held inside of him that informed so much of his music and identity. Guys, we're getting into it. That's right. This week we are talking about the one, the only, the most famous sideman to ever work with Andrew Ridgeley. That's right. We're talking about George Michael. Bad Boys if you're nasty. So, guys, listen. Young Guns, one of the two. So, guys, listen. George Michael.
Did you forget what joke?
I literally did. I rehearsed it and I forgot. It's live, guys. We're recording it live. You're getting unfiltered stuff. It's great. Symphonica. So, guys, listen.
Because we don't edit.
Yeah, I know. Why would we do that? So, the thing is, George Michael, born in London, he was actually son of two parents. His father was very Greek, ran a restaurant, wanted him to work in there and do nothing but work in there, but he had musical ambitions and a very supportive mother, and he was shy. He was a shy kid. So when he finally went to high school and then basically met up with Andrew Ridgeley, a very fashionable guy, that was kind of like, oh my god, fashion school, we should form a band together, and they did. And the thing that's not known a lot about George Michael, he was talented. He was like a little gay white prince because he recorded everything, drums, keyboards, bass. He basically did almost all the instruments on all the albums and was the producer on top of it and the songwriter. Like, as fluffy and sometimes as disposable as his hits were, they all come from George. George Michael was the guy. And so while his initial duo Wham kind of had like this teeny bopper audience, especially with their big album Make It Big, it was when George Michael went solo that he launched into crazy superstar status, like Michael Jackson levels of fame. Like, it was crazy. And he has a fascinating discography that we are going to go into this week, because that's what we do. We're going to rank it. Who's the we? Let me tell you. First off, there's me. I'm Evan Sadi. You might know me as the interviews editor of Pop Matter. I'm a pop music critic. You've probably seen my works in other places. If not, that's okay. You know what I want you to know? I want you to know that I'm the host of this podcast because I love this podcast. And if you love this podcast, then you know the person sitting next to me. The Andrew Ridgeley to my George Michael. That's right. He's way more talented, though, let me tell you. It is the co-creator of the podcast, Taryn O'Reilly!
Hello!
How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
How is this week for you?
This week was a lot of fun. Yeah, sort of like you said, I was expecting a lot more disposable pop than I went away with. I actually really like some of Wham, which really surprised me. The first time I listened to Fantastic, I was like, Oh, I think I'm exactly gay enough for this. So yeah, it was a really fun week. I'm very excited to talk about our takeaways. There's also some garbage here.
Yes,
let's be real.
Let's be real. But our guest might disagree with us, though, on that end, because our guest is an incredible person. We've been talking about doing this episode with her for the longest darn time, and she is also the biggest Tom Daley fan in the world and runs the Daily Instagram account. Fan of just British gay men in general. Like, it's just wonderful across the board.
It's my niche.
Guys, Carmen Barnes is here in studio. Carmen!
Hello!
How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is so fun and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I am covered in Red, White, and Blue for Great Britain as well.
Yeah. And George.
And obviously.
Exactly. Right. And you were saying that you were actually growing up in Germany as this was happening, right?
Yes. I actually didn't see the United States until 7th grade.
Okay.
So I was in Germany and Holland as he was getting big. And it was like the best time to be a little gay child. Discovering you're gay through Wham!
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Right. That sounds fantastic.
As my mother would say, when I was a little boy, I was very into Wham!
Okay. All right. Well, guys, let me tell you
For the
something.
record, Carmen is not a boy.
I am not. I am a wonderfully large lesbian. But it's just funny to say because of all my boy clothes.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Well, speaking of boy clothes, Wham! Let me tell you a little something about them. This is going to be an interesting thing. I don't think we've ever done this before, where we're actually, and we've talked about this before, we're going to combine discographies when it comes to ranking them from worst to
I
best.
think this is officially the first time we've done this.
Right.
But it's absolutely appropriate because
Wham! Was basically George Michael. I mean, at the end of the day, Andrew Ridgeley was there. He was moral support. He had some guitar. He had a couple co-writing credits. But he's mainly there to help George get out of his shy shell, essentially.
Absolutely. He would run over to him on stage and like stand next to him, and it was just his comfort because, oh my God, there's a lot of screaming women and men screaming at you, and it could be very nervous. And so like I think that it was a crutch for him and like helped him get out of that shyness.
And the biggest thing is that when it comes to the two of them, because he was such the driving force of Wham! And because his solo discography is so short, we felt it was appropriate to actually rank all of them together because I think there's going to be some surprises in it for you. So when it comes to ranking their albums, we are talking about Wham's 1983 debut, Fantastic, released when they were goddamn 20 years old, which is insanity to me. 1984's record-breaking go-go album, Make It Big. And there was the final Wham! Album, Music from the Edge of Heaven from 1986. There was George Michael's solo stratosphere-breaking debut, Faith, in 1987. There was his much more acoustic follow-up, which was Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1 in 1990. There was many, many years later in 1996, his much more mature take on everything with Older in 1996. There was his covers album that he did, and Songs from the Last Century in 1999. And there was the final album that was released of his studio recordings, Patience, in 2004. Now, this seems pretty straightforward, but there's a couple of qualifiers we need to throw in here. And the biggest one, first off, is Wham! Their final album. We are doing Music from the Edge of Heaven because that was an album of new material that was released primarily in North America. However, in the UK, it was released as The Final, which is kind of a greatest hit / new album combination, very Michael Jackson-y. That's stupid. We're not going to do that. We want the music by itself, so we're not going to rank the same songs twice. That's kind of a thing that we're doing. So we're going to do that. But, Carmen, I'm going to put this to you, and I'm such a strong advocate for this. I really don't want to rank songs from the last century in this ranking because it is, I mean, it's one of the things, like, it's just him doing a bunch of old songs symphonically.
Absolutely.
Traditionally, we don't do covers albums for the most part. We did rank David Bowie's Pin-Ups because that was, like, the last statement of the Spiders from Mars. We did rank Cheek to Cheek by Lady Gaga because it was such a stylistic diversion from what she did. It felt like it was worth noting from an artistic standpoint. This is what I don't really have a lot of justification for this, personally.
So,
ahead.
I can understand why we would rank it from, like, his artistic journey. But as far as showing who George Michael is, I don't know that it does a great job of that. But what do you think? Should we include it in the ranking?
I think it's an incredible album in general, just because you get to see a different side. He had a large, he was a fan himself of Harry Connick Jr., and I think it, pulls into that, having the big band with him.
Yeah.
To a good portion of it. And it's an incredible listen. But again, it is songs that he is covering, so I understand that you're not doing it necessarily this way. It's something that I still enjoy, but it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I respect that you're not.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And we did listen to it. I'm really okay with not listing it just because it is... I feel like of all the George Michael albums, while it doesn't show a side of him as a performer, I feel like it is also just the least George Michael out of everything. Because so much else, he wrote everything, and he produced everything. And I feel like that's a more important thing to highlight. So, go ahead.
I think at that time, he was just big enough to be able to do, these are the songs I really like. Let's cover it differently. Yeah. So I think that's probably what it was. I can release it It's,
And also, it was
you
the
know.
first album he released since, I feel like it was the first album he released since his big, infamous outing in 96 due to the police sting. So as such, I feel like from that end, it was like a way of reestablishing himself instead of being like, I'm a Leary gay or whatever. Like, I feel like it was a kind of way to, ingratiate himself to the, general pop audiences.
Well, I think also part of it was he had just put out his greatest hits album the year before with Outside, which was a huge statement about
that incident.
Absolutely.
Just
Those
acknowledging
videos were amazing.
I mean, that video is incredible. Probably one of my favorite songs from him, even though it's not on one of the albums we're ranking.
Yeah.
And so the song from the last century was sort of a
cleansing of the palate.
Exactly. Yeah. A cleansing of the palate. Like, he had this gross thing that happened, but now he just wants to move forward, do something classic where he can just sing, but also I'm guessing that he was not in a place, especially thinking about just how fun most of his songs are, except the ballads, obviously. But, all of his albums have really bright, happy moments, and I don't know that he was necessarily in the mood to do that as much. Mm-hmm. So instead, he had this sort of stripped down, there's a lot of orchestral moments. The song with the harp is really annoying. I don't remember which one it is, but it's literally just 3 minutes of... It's not even, intricate harp playing. It's just trills over and over again, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay.
All right, cool. Well, I think that is good enough for me. So in that case, we now have 7 albums that we're ranking. Fantastic, Make It Big, Music from the Edge of Heaven, Faith, Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1, Older, Patience. Now, we're going to rank them. We're going to, sometimes outvote each other, but we're going to have a good debate. We all have open minds. I'm definitely open on a lot of this. I actually have no idea how any of this is going to go, so I'm really excited about it.
Ranking is going to be so difficult.
Well, guess what? It's starting right now. And Carmen, you are the guest, so we don't have to decide anything, but I just want to hear your nomination. What would you say, out of 7 slots, what is the worst, or in your case, the least best, George Michael album? What would you nominate?
Son of a...
Faith. All right, cool. Let's go. We'll walk away.
The least? Okay. I could not stop laughing at Fantastic. I enjoyed some of it. But the Wham rap was so brutal. Just repeating Wham and Bam together, first of all, is not a rap. So I don't even... Was rap a thing in 83? I think it was.
It had just barely become a thing. Yeah. Which is why it sounds like this.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So,
hey, everybody, take a look at me. I got street credibility. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't, buddy.
So, it just... strictly based off of that one song, it's gonna drop it all the way to the bottom for me.
Taryn has a lot to say about this song.
So fair. Wham rap is rough. Believe me, this album is not very high for me, but I like disco a lot. Yeah. And there's a whole lot of disco.
Well, I was blown up when I first, because I had almost zero familiarity with this. I kind of knew Bad Boys, and Bad Boys is not as bad a song as you think it is, but those synths have dated horrendously. Those little fucking synth horn hits, exactly. But let me tell you, because I heard it on a fucking Avalanches mix, but I didn't even know the original artist, the fact that George Michael wrote a song called A Ray of Sunshine, and it's this, at 20 years old, this complex, deep, exciting little, disco pop number is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Genuinely. That's a great song. I was kind of blown away by that.
It's definitely one of my favorites out of, all 7 albums that we have here.
Okay.
Ray of Sunshine.
Yeah.
Specifically, that song. I am so into.
Yeah.
And, I think that there's a couple other things on here that... I mean, okay, I will say the Love Machine cover is... It's just... First of all, the first minute before it really hits sounds so dated. Especially because I know the original so well, and it has real horns and real instrumentation. It's Motown, it's classic. And it just, they don't change it enough to justify it being here. If they had transformed it, I could maybe give it a little more credit, but it's just Love Machine sung by George Michael instead of the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just because it being from 1983, even the movies, they had this music that went on way too long before there was talking. So like then like the screen washing and everything. So it was like that was still their time. So it's hard to judge being in the year we're in, but also easy to judge because
I'm listening to it 2018 years. Yeah, like I can appreciate things that they did, but they could still be dated.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Also, a really big fan of Club Tropicana.
I did enjoy Tropicana. It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I also enjoyed Nothing Looks the Same in the Light.
Yeah, that was the other one. Not quite as much, but when you do
also he made this album when he was fucking 19. It
right.
came out when he was 20. Like that's the thing where like I can respect it from the end. Like there's talent, there's promise in here,
It's a lot of fun to do dishes too.
In terms of dishes album, this is number one.
This is like right.
Right, exactly.
So, okay, I would put one album below this.
Are you gonna break some hearts?
Oh.
And it is controversial.
Okay, here we go. Get your palms together.
My nomination for number 7 would be Make It Big.
That deep guttural
because I really like Everything She Wants. I think that's a fucking bomb song.
It really is.
It's a great 80s pop, especially because I historically don't like albums from 1984. Like
Okay.
Prince's Purple Rain being an exception, but like most other things that were happening at the time, the synths sound awful. I don't like the drum production. I don't like the filters on the vocals, and it could be great songs, but I just like
there's something about it that just
right, rubs me the wrong way. And Wham somehow didn't fall into that as much as some other artists. Consistently, their early 80s stuff, I'm like, okay, I don't hate this as much as usual. However, to me, Make It Big sort of feels like, because Fantastic was very much like a disco album, and then Make It Big sort of feels like they went, oh, teenage white girls really love us.
yes.
Let's make an album that teenage white girls are gonna like.
And we'll make it big.
And it just there's some heart missing from it, specifically
I disagree.
in the center.
Yeah.
With the exception of Freedom, which actually grew on me this week.
Okay.
I discredited it first because it's just nowhere near as good as the Freedom remake, but they're also entirely different songs.
Yeah.
And obviously Careless Whisper is on here, which is a great song. But then everything else on here, it's so bland.
I need a credit card, baby.
But that's a really bad song.
All right, well, Carmen clearly
Credit Card
has
Baby
personal
is one
feeling.
of the worst.
It's one of the worst.
Thank you.
Right?
Credit Card Baby is one of
Exactly.
Like, you
It's
can have my credit card,
really
baby.
rough.
Just keep your hands away from my heart, lady.
Come on. Yeah.
I mean...
women spending money while the men have hearts, I guess, or something.
That's not.
So this album does wake you up before you go, then, is what you're saying.
Oh my god, it totally does.
Okay.
Wake Me Up Before You Go was like I wore out this record as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a legitimate child at this time, and I believe I am the oldest in this room, which is fine.
Yeah.
Most people don't know I'm my age, but I am what I am.
Right.
So it's with one of these. It was like the first album about my own allowance. Like, so it was like one of these things.
Oh, yeah.
So like it also has like a really big
personal
connection to me. So like it's one of those like, I bought it as a cassette, I bought it as a vinyl, and it was like, and the whole reason like this is my first one for Wham is I loved their hair because we had very similar hair.
Yeah.
And also, I thought it was the neatest thing to have an exclamation point and your band's name.
Yeah, that was daring. Right.
This is my choice. And then once listening to it, Wake Me Up Before You Go was just...
effervescent.
Not even knowing what that means as when you're a child, but like it was just so much fun.
I still don't know what that means.
You can explain it to him later.
We're gonna have the talk. We're gonna have the George Michael talk.
It's funny, the first time I became aware of this song, it was on like a children's comedy album. And it was
story.
like this guy visiting his friend in the hospital, and he had a head injury, so now he has a stutter. So they made a Wake Me Up Before You Go joke, and I didn't get it, so my dad played the song for me. And this was when I was like, 4 or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's not even on top of the fact that this song is ditzy as fuck. It's like so much more simple and teeny boppy than because I know what George Michael can write.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So like when I compare it to his other like massive, incredible pop hits, even the ones that aren't on Faith and weren't like massive hits in the US, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go just doesn't quite have the same impact. But I still get it. You know what I mean?
If you look at the lyrics, it's sad. I understand, but it's just like with the beats and everything. I think it definitely deserves a higher rank.
Okay. All right.
But you know,
Yeah.
I appreciate the difference of opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. We have 7 albums to go through,
Right,
so
right.
there's a lot of things that are going to happen along the way.
Right.
If it's down between these two, I think the choice is very easy for me. Like, I think we can agree. I mean, I'm not sure about where you stand. I feel like most of the Wham material generally can be maybe down near the bottom of the list, maybe, you know.
Absolutely. If we went by emotions, it might be higher.
Yeah. Oh,
To be
absolutely.
completely
Right.
understanding. But that's not where I wanted to necessarily put all of it. So yes, I would say most of the Wham would be lower.
Yeah. So...
Just because he grew as we all grew?
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Here's
But the other thing is that like music from the Edge of Heaven isn't that great either. like it has Wham Rap 90 or Wham Rap 86, which like
It's just a remix.
it's just
yeah.
it's almost the same instrumental.
Right.
And it's like,
Which
did we need to revisit
George Michael
this?
liked to do? Like, in case you forgot why
Yeah.
you liked me, here's an instrumental version of the song you really liked before.
Yeah.
Which I think is unnecessary, but I think a lot of artists did that.
All
like
right,
you
so
mentioned
I'm
multiple
torn, but because we're in an outvoting system here, here's what I'm thinking about it. I think I was kind of on Taryn's side for a little bit, but I might be changing my mind. I might throw Fantastic at the very bottom just because A Ray of Sunshine blew me away this week. And there are songs I like on here, but the terrible songs are so terrible.
Yeah.
Like, for me, like, I gotta throw it on there. But if we vote and we throw Fantastic at number 7, I feel like Make It Big's gotta be, like, right behind it. Because I feel like in terms of great takeaways, Everything She Wants is a takeaway. And Careless Whisper is a takeaway. And honestly, like a Baby, I like that it's a little bit of a slower song down there, like, genuinely.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest of the songs are, like, fine. You know, and the thing is that, like, an album with, like, fine songs, they're one thing. But especially since we have so many other songs to talk about, like, I don't have as much more to say about a very light and disposable album, to a degree. You know? That's kind of how I feel. Do you agree in some any way? You can wildly disagree, of course.
To rate another one is what you're asking me. So I would definitely put, you
said Fantastic at 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you put anything below Make It Big?
No, I wouldn't. So Make It Big would be next.
Okay.
Make
Well,
It Big
let's
would be
at the
next for me
very
as
least,
well.
before we have any other discussion, let's go ahead and lock these two in. Number 7, Fantastic. Number 6, Make It Big, and that's okay. That's okay. Now,
Make It Big was a lot for me, but it's a lot of time. But like I said, as I grew, so did George Michael, so did the music. So yeah,
exactly.
There's more things to layer on top.
Right. And the thing is, I gotta be honest, when it comes to like number 5, I'm glad we were able to agree at this point so far.
Yeah.
But at number 5, I'm a little bit torn. Because I kind of have 2 ideas I want to toss out here. The first nomination would be Music from the Edge of Heaven, because while Wham Rap and especially Edge of Heaven, listen, if that's what heaven sounds like, I want to go to hell. I'm not even kidding. But like legitimately. And the thing is, and Blue is disposable, but Music from the Edge of Heaven has some moments.
I like Blue. You think it's
I
disposable?
like Blue.
It's like, it's fine. I listen to it and I'm like, this is a song. I don't hate it. I don't love it. And then it's over. You know, it's fine.
Okay.
But the biggest thing for me, aside from Last Christmas, which is a sneaky little song.
Last Christmas
it's a
is incredible,
sneaky little
and it
song.
makes every holiday better.
Okay, so, like, first of all, let's just take a moment to talk about how impressive it is that George Michael has the only Christmas song from the 80s that's made it into the Christmas songbook.
Every compilation ever. Like,
Right, everyone, at this point, everyone who does a Christmas album covers Last Christmas.
Absolutely.
And like Christmas songs tend to obviously rechart every year. Like Mariah Carey got her highest ranking in 2017 because fucking All I Want for Christmas Is You went to number fucking 9 or 7, which is like the highest it's ever been. And last year in the UK, fucking Last Christmas went to number 2. which is amazing for me. But like that's its own thing, and it's a secret song. But here's the thing: there's a couple Battle Stations is a fun and like interesting little number about one question I have about the song: why do they always have sex on Wednesdays? Why is Wednesday your sex day?
Well, why wouldn't you?
Because
it is hump day.
I didn't even think about that.
Lesbians do things different.
Okay.
I don't.
Well, consider me school. But it'll be also that chorus of, it's like, why are we always fighting instead of spending time in bed? Like, there's something about that. That's a nice little hook. It's a little bit understated, weirdly enough. Like, the beat's going and his vocals are a little bit in the background, not in the front. It's like, okay.
He does that a lot.
Yeah.
Which is especially, I feel like he doesn't get as much credit as a vocalist as maybe he should, because he sorta does the Janet thing where there's a lot of like whispery, breathy vocals because he's being sensual. But then sometimes when he's like fully belting, I'm like, oh, okay.
You got some nice
You
tone.
got some pipes.
Yeah. But then the other thing here is, and I think it's probably the biggest thing, is not a lot of people talk about, and it was a fucking single, and it was basically a George Michael solo single, A Different Corner. Now, at the end of the day, I would say Different Corner is not ever going to enter, like, my top 10 George Michael songs list, personally. But, no, because, like, I just don't love the melody. I'm not as big a fan of it. But what the song is fascinating. This is truly, and I mean this, the first point, and it's worth getting into for the rest of his discography, of just the fact that he was, especially at the end of Wham, he kind of realized he was full-on gay. And especially during this time when they had all this teeny bopper fan worship, Andrew and the backup dancers, they're like, or singers, they're like, you should probably not tell your parents, you should probably stay in the closet, that's what you should do. And that's effectively what he did. Also, Elton John, in the mid-70s, was a cautionary tale, because when he came out as definitely not straight, his album sales, his radio hits pretty much all dried up at that point. There was an outrage. Walter Cronkite covered fucking Elton John on the news because of that reason. The sexual revolution is very recent, guys. It's a thing that happened. And it's very important, I want to bring this up too, because so much of what George does, not necessarily with the first two Wham albums, which are just kind of like effervescent, and free, but with this here, and A Different Corner especially, it's like he's getting out hints and communications. And when we watched the VH1 Behind the Music special, George was looking back at the Wake Me Up Before You Go video in the pink shirt and the fingerless gloves and everything. He's like, God, it couldn't have been more obvious. But a lot of people, he was just flamboyant and fey and whatever. And A Different Corner is the first, especially for the next three albums, when he's like trying to tell us something. There is torture behind these things. And there was a pop critic, Alfred Soto, and this came up during the Slate Hit Parade podcast talking about George Michael, how like, when it comes to being a gay fan of pop music, when it comes to, especially in this era, prior to, it essentially gays becoming accepted and, mainstream to a degree, I feel like a lot of things, like, you had to look for hints. You had to look for messages and things like that locked in the lyrics. Because generally, when you fall in love, if you're a straight person, you're like, being in love is awesome. Oh, why won't she go out with me? I mean, these are like very general pop songs. But like, every time George Michael talks about it, it is pain. It is torture. It is like, just regret.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, and so there's the thing, like, for personally, I don't love the melody of A Different Corner, but like, when you listen to that song, we look at the lyrics, it's like, whoa, this is
he's
big.
saying something. Yeah. Absolutely. He's
so
reaching
like,
out.
Yeah, and so like, I respect the artistry of that. It doesn't necessarily elevate the album for me, but I respect the fuck out of that song.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of like, so because it's a mix of like really good songs and lesser songs, like that's kind of where I want to put the music at the edge of heaven. Or
Do you, well,
oh, go ahead.
let's
Yeah.
just discuss this album before.
Sure.
Well, do you have anything else to say on it?
I will say that Last Christmas, me being still my age and even going back, Last Christmas is played in my house all the time, and my mom and I will dance up and down the stairs. It's just so important to the Barnes family. Yeah. So in my girlfriend, it cannot stand it, but she definitely has been starting to sing along with me. She's like, oh no, it's November. Is Last Christmas coming on? Yes,
I mean,
it is.
honestly, for me, the production on that is good enough that, like, I was not mad at all about listening to it in May.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
just,
Absolutely
because it's just so fun.
It is fun.
It's so fun, and it's so, like, it's, like, hopeful and sad, and...
Absolutely.
But
even
also,
then it's still sad.
Even if you don't...
Yeah.
But if you don't want to think about how sad it is, like, it's so just fun
It's
and
very
bright.
catchy.
And,
yeah.
yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what my thoughts. The only other thing I would potentially nominate here, so maybe you guys can help me if you agree at all,
Sure.
would actually be Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1 would be my other nomination for it here. Because, like, Listen Without Prejudice, the kind of more acoustic album they released in the wake of this massive success of Faith, he's taking very much a different direction, and, he doesn't have his face on the album cover, he's not appearing in the music videos, whatever. It's an odd one. It's an odd little album. He's still communicating a lot of different things, and let me get this out of the way, Freedom 90, and this week really drove it in for me, Freedom 90 is maybe one of my favorite pop songs ever.
Okay.
Like, it is so goddamn good. He knows how to build up that sly little beat to keep upbeat and optimistic. I mean, it's become a gay anthem, but, like, it's just an amazing song. This is one of those few times you can bring in a pop choir and it fucking works and it nails
Absolutely.
it.
Well, and I honestly think, too, that even though he borrowed the Freedom choral hook, that the verses and chorus are still catchy enough to live on their own.
Absolutely.
Like, if we pulled that out, sure, it wouldn't be as impactful, but it would still be probably up there among my favorite George Michael songs.
Yeah.
And I think that just speaks to the testament of just how strong of a songwriter he was at this point.
Catchy enough for those boys on MTV.
I also appreciate Freedom because I feel like it really works with its 70s interpolation, whereas, like, Waiting for That Day, or what's the one where he does Send Me Forget-Me-Nots?
Oh, that's Fast Love. At the
Is
very
that
end.
Fast Love?
Yeah.
Right. Both of those just feel entirely unnecessary. Like, they don't, to me, it doesn't really, like, add to the song that you're calling back to a different song.
Yeah, like you
Like,
acknowledging
these
your
songs
pop
can
history.
stand
Yeah.
on their
Absolutely.
own, and if you had worked it into the whole song
Instead of
and,
an
like,
afterthought
made
at
it
the
part
end.
of the structure,
Yeah.
then I think I would have appreciated a little more. But instead it just feels like this weird tag, especially to have the Rolling Stones actually do it. I don't know, that didn't totally work for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on Freedom, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back on ranking Listen Without Prejudice this low, though.
Okay.
Because I really like a lot of what's happening on this
Okay.
album. For me, his ballads can get pretty boring.
Yep.
When he's...
Lies.
all he does on the production a lot of the time is, like, a Casio beat and a single piano chord at the top of each measure with just his vocals over it, which can work, but oftentimes it's just kind of boring for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think that when he strips it down on this album, it works a lot more because he's going acoustic guitar. He's
Mm-hmm.
going, like, tabla,
Acoustic
you know,
guitar with him is
hippie-
my favorite.
hippie
for sure.
drum circle sort of feel, early 70s singer-songwriter, and I love that era, so this album really connects with me.
Okay.
Praying for Time is pretty good, but I really love Something to Save.
that was a
I
good
love
one.
his
Yeah.
vocal take on that. Cowboys and Angels is one of my favorite, like, down-tempo songs from him. And what was the other one? Oh, Heal the Pain. The hook on Heal the Pain is just so nice. And I love the closer, Waiting Reprise. Like, there's just a ton of moments on here where I feel like because of the switch in production, I'm able to appreciate, like, the
His
longing
songwriting
and the
talent.
vocal take
Okay.
and the songwriting talent more. To me, it's a better showcase for what he's still doing elsewhere. He's just dressed it up in a way that I appreciate more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think of this?
I wouldn't
Even
drop it down this
remotely
low.
at all, yeah.
It's definitely one of the ones for a lot of the same reasons that Taryn has mentioned. But Mother's Pride, I can't listen to it without getting choked up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I like when he strips down the music, and even Frank Sinatra sent him an open letter telling him to just sing. He doesn't need all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a powerful statement that, it's okay to just let your voice go. You don't need to put so much symphonic or
build it up like they
Build
do
it
on
up.
They Won't Go When I Go.
and
won't go when I go.
which is still a lot of fun to sing in the car.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Oh,
It's just-
I hear you.
Yeah, it's just one that's like you did. Oh yeah, everyone singing together is so much good. But when you're alone, Mother's Pride is really like it just, yeah, it's one of those like it holds it for me. And Freedom, obviously, it's one of the ones that when I was realizing I'm the only lesbian in school. It was just one of those things that, sadly comforted me. But also, it's kind of a strange thing to sadly comfort, but it is kind of like how...
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
We're gays.
Yeah. So it was just like a really definitely another one that I wore out for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So just out of curiosity then, when it comes to our number 5 ranking on everything, what would you have nominated?
I would probably put, goodness, it's so difficult.
It's hard.
I would probably put Patience there.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness!
And this is how we know we're from different eras.
And it's awesome, and it's hard. This is very hard for me to do this at all. To rank them because different things happen, but
because every song is brilliant and a story.
But
they're all number 1. Yeah.
I graduated high school in 1995, so in 1990, this Listen Without Prejudice was so powerful to Little Carmen. So it was, it's very something that Patience being one of the last things I ever heard. It's hard to say, but it's still something that I grew with the other music more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I get that. I can see where you're coming from, but especially for me, here's the biggest thing. Older, the album came out in 1986, and we have issues with Older. We're going to get into Older, don't worry. All right, we'll talk about it. But it came out also about 3 months before his infamous LA arrest, which for those who don't know, he was out living with his boyfriend out in Santa Monica, going to a public park, using the restroom, and was basically busted in essentially a sting operation because he was showing his willy to what happened to be a cop. And he had
the cop showed him his willy first, though.
It's basically
that's accurate.
Yeah, and it basically, as George Michael said multiple times, it's entrapment. But as much it's a big controversy, it was all over the tabloids. But the biggest reason it was a controversy is because it basically forced him to come out. And the thing is that when you're gay in any sense whatsoever, that is one of the cruelest things you could ever do is remove someone's coming out. That's something that's there and personal, and so for that to be splashed all over the place in a giant fucking humiliation or whatever, that's terrible. That's horrible. He went on news 3 days later and revealed that he is gay. And the thing is that the hints were all there, but the fact that they had to say it, especially in the 90s, is a big deal, which is part of the reason why Songs of the Last Century, I feel was a bit of a course correction to a degree, even though with Outside he was able to laugh at it. So Patience really, for me, is kind of the first album he was able to do as an out gay man, of original songs.
Absolutely.
And it's 2004, as I kept joking with Tara, it's kind of the Kylie Minogue album of his career. There's a lot of that kind of era stuff
Lots
to
of
it. Yeah,
breezy post Daft Punk's Discovery,
yes,
mid-tempo vote, beats exactly. But the thing is that because it's him as an out man, the thing is that he's lived his life. He doesn't need to go clubbing. He doesn't need to do Madonna or Cher or just go super gay or whatever. He's
this album is still
the album is very gay.
Very gay.
No. It is super gay, but it's weirdly not.
But it's not gayer than normal.
No, and that's the biggest thing. When I was listening to it, with the exception of Freak, which I think is just a garbage single. It really, really is. This album, he's doing 2 things. One, he's talking about his past. He's talking in a very real way.
Absolutely,
Round Here was a fascinating little biographical song, and I kind of loved it. It's just very upbeat. Although there's a line in there about the 2 little Hitlers, which I still have no idea what the fuck he's referencing in that, which is really fucking weird. My Mother Had a Brother is very emotional.
So powerful,
American Angel. He has that song that's dedicated to his lover that he had in the 90s. Anselmo, which is actually very nice.
That's one of my favorite ones.
It is, profoundly. But the lyrics for the rest of the songs, when we think about Amazing, we think about Cars and Trains, he's talking about these boys you don't have to be a fucked up piece of ass. Yeah. He's kind of being kind of an elder statesman of gays.
Well, that's on Flawless.
Yeah, Flawless, exactly.
Which is the gayest song he ever recorded.
And I love it!
It's so great.
And
absolutely.
Absolutely
That video is incredible.
I will push back on this being this low, partially because of Flawless.
I understand.
It's such a good...
And it was hard for me, again, because John and Elvis Are Dead are huge to me. I'm a huge Elvis fan as well.
Uh-huh.
So, that song is just so incredible. And I get it, but it's just... It's fine. But it's just... I absolutely love that song.
Yeah.
I also... One of my favorites from this album is Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't not hear how it's a rewrite of Fast Love. It's the same
a good
chord
rewrite of
structure.
Fast Love.
It is. But every time every time I hear that da 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 da, instead of the hook from Amazing, my brain goes, "If you're looking for fast love," like I can't separate the two.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a big ding. That one of my favorite songs on here is just a lesser version of a really great song from a different album. But also you have
Precious Box. I like Precious Box.
Yeah, Precious Box is no, you don't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I thought it was.
I'm agreeing. No.
Also, what is Shoot the Dog about?
It is in reference to heroin.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He did have some drug problems.
Yes.
But he did do his best to work through them. I think he had multiple arrests.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he was in rehab, but I don't actually know what year that fell into. You guys watched the VH1 more recently.
They didn't actually bring it up. They don't talk about rehab at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about the VH1 behind the
it's
music,
also an hour.
It's an hour and
It's 42 minutes.
Yeah.
With
Watch the
commercials.
feature-length documentary on his life. Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there one of those?
There is. He has his own movie, but I think the only way you can watch it is YouTube.
Oh.
But it's like 2 hours,
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
how about that?
So, yeah, I mean, I get having this album this low. I think part of it is just a preference of, production style, too. It's also because it's 8 years between albums. It's just such a different time of pop music that it doesn't totally fit with the George Michael mystique.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Sure. No, it is a completely different thing. What I liked about George Michael a lot is each album felt different, except he kept pulling an old song onto the new one just a little differently. And I still feel like that was a little bit of fear on his side of what if my fans don't like what I've changed? Yeah. The confidence level, you'd think that he'd have, but him being shy still lasted throughout his life.
Yeah. Well, we're still talking about our number 5 spot, and we're 40 minutes in.
Sorry.
So,
no, don't be sorry. This is great.
So, I would say, just given that we've nominated 3 different albums here, I think we can maybe find the most consensus on Music from the Edge of Heaven at number 5.
I think so.
Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's lock that in.
Are you? Yeah.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Yeah. All right. Cool. Exactly. All right.
Because honestly, there's an album that I would put lower than Listen Without Prejudice and Patience.
Would it be older?
It is older.
How did I know?
It is older, and again, I love Fast Love so much.
It's a great goddamn song.
I think Spinning the Wheel has a really great groove.
Oh,
and
man.
There are a lot of songs on this album that
doesn't really matter.
That are too long. Or there's a lot of songs in his discography in general, especially once he went solo, that are way too fucking long. But I think Spinning the Wheel, it's still 6.5 minutes, but I don't get bored with it.
Mm-hmm.
I do some of the other ones. I'm also really into Star People.
Okay.
When he's talking about...
It's a little bit loungy, kind of,
Yeah.
Fuck fame, you guys would die without fame anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but he does it in kind of an upbeat way, which is fun.
Right.
It's a little bit cheeky, but not overtly.
But unfortunately, that about sums up what I like on this album.
You don't love Jesus to a child.
I
think it's beautiful.
I get Jesus to a Child.
Okay.
I do think it's beautiful, but I don't want to listen to it.
Okay.
It's
Religion
not
is
really
such an important part of his mom and his his upbringing.
Yeah.
And so I do appreciate that he always kept religion throughout it, and I think Jesus to a Child is so very George Michael. But I understand if you wouldn't want to listen to it. It happens to be.
I feel like this album is almost just lost in a trap of adult contemporariness. It's kind of mid-ambient synths, mid-tempo grooves, kind of Jesus to a child. It's just this very. There's effort, there's craft behind these songs. Make no mistake, but it's still just kind of I love Move On. Honestly,
Okay.
that's been one of my surprises that I had this week. I'm just this lovely fun little thing. And we were listening earlier in the car to It Doesn't Really Matter, which I love because it sounds like a little fucking keyboard demo he recorded in his home, not in the studio.
Oh yeah,
And I like that. I like that we see these different sides of him throughout this album. It's actually much like Patience. I kind of like that he's just kind of this. There's still a lot of yearning on this album.
Yeah.
But it's also I feel like he's kind of officially, especially this is after, 6 years after his fucking legal battle had initiated with Sony Music.
Yeah.
It just kind of it's a little bit more resigned. It's a little bit more, there's yearning, but there's also just kind of guys, come on, in it there.
I mean, even the title of it's older. He's just more mature. It's
I think it's a terrible album title, personally.
I also think that the title track is one of his weakest ballads.
Yep. Personally, I would agree. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel about it, Carly?
I think that it's just one of the things that it was just so different for me, this album. So when it came out, I'm like, obviously, I want to buy it first.
Yeah.
And so like, it was like, at first I was like, this doesn't sound like anything. I'm disappointed. But then it grew on me.
Right.
So I think if you guys listen to it more, you might like it more.
Mm-hmm.
But, also, I don't want to force that onto anybody, but I still feel like, after Patience, this is where older would be for me, for my ranking.
Sure.
Okay.
But it is something there's so many good things about it. But I would say,
what are your...
Jesus to a Child is my favorite, but it doesn't sound like the consensus here.
I'm blown away by that, personally.
But Fast Love was incredible. I just graduated high school, I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
Fast Love was in every gay bar ever.
Oh, yeah.
And often still is.
Men have the ladies, they all have babies.
As a lesbian, I'm the most gay man you'll meet. So, it was one of those things, so much glitter, so much fun. It was definitely,
that fucking sax hook, I swear to God. It's understated and beautiful. It's
I
great.
never wanted to grow, a chin strap more. I just... Why don't I have that ability? Because I'm not Greek nor man. These are the things, that beautiful, dark, what? Oh, I can't.
Yeah.
It's just gorgeous.
God damn it.
So, that has all that memory for me, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd say Taryn and I might have to... I think it might be outvoting time. I think
Sure,
we
I
might
understand.
outvote you and put Older at number 4, but I feel like that's as much leverage as I'm going to get out of getting anything else. Taryn?
Yeah. No, I would put Older at 4 and then probably...
It gets harder.
Let's put Older at 4.
It gets
Let's
harder.
put Older at 4, and so for those keeping track at home, that is number 7, Fantastic. That is number 6.
Because you said you would put Older at 3, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was number 6, Make It Big. Number 5, Music on the Edge of Heaven. Number 4, Older. Which means
I think Carmen and I are outvoting you
Yeah.
and putting Patience at 3.
And that's fine, because when it comes down to the discussion of Listen Without Prejudice versus motherfucking 1987's Faith, it is a discussion worth having. Now, we've talked a little bit about Listen Without Prejudice. Let's just describe what the fuck Faith is, for those who don't goddamn know. The thing is, I would say, and this is one of the things, I would say Faith is not a perfect album.
No.
I would say there's a couple weak points, but when it comes to... I feel like that was my biggest revelation the more and more I sat with Faith this week, is the fact that, he did something... The 80s was actually a completely transformational era, because I feel like in the 60s and in the 70s, when it came to talking about sexuality and pop music, it was subtlety. It was all coy, allegories. It's, do it to me one more time. I said, it's that kind of thing. It's, basking everything and whatever. And I feel like this is the time when things got explicit. This is before, Two Life Crew was doing Me So Horny, and before the entire paradigm change in the 90s.
Absolutely.
But in the 80s, Prince was getting out there and talking about, explicit things within an artistic context.
Mm-hmm.
And
Madonna.
Exactly, Madonna. And I feel like George Michael was absolutely a part of that conversation, because the lead single from this album was not the song Faith, as big and amazing and as iconic a hit that was. The lead single from this was I Want Your Sex.
All the time.
Because I feel like it was the thing after Wham had ended, he personally was still struggling with his sexual identity, but more importantly, he wanted to firmly establish this is not an album you can buy for your kids. He wanted to make it be known. And so, go ahead.
And on the one hand, I feel like he didn't need to ditch Wham to do that. I understand why he did, from just, he wanted to break out and do a hard cut, but he didn't have to ditch Andrew Ridgeley. It could have still been Wham and just a new image.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because he left Wham, it was even that much more of a pronouncement.
Mm-hmm.
They had a falling out as well. So it wasn't him just leaving, it was a
mutual.
Yeah,
we shouldn't work together anymore. But even then, it's this minimalistic little fucking jam with these little synth, it's almost Prince, this.
It's very Prince.
It comes in, but it's also just him, sex is something and sex is free. He's just talking about it in such a sex positive way.
Yeah.
And then even the rest of the album, when you talk Faith, when he's talking about wanting your body, not everybody's got a body like me.
Right.
It's playful and it's fun. This whole album, and especially, here's the thing. when this album came out, it was such a monster hit. I don't think even the label was counting on it too. They have labels like, oh, we can like spin hits off this for days. So they were diving deep into the album to pull things out. And they're like, hey, maybe we should put out Monkey as a song. When you think about the great George Michael discography, Monkey isn't a song that you're necessarily associating it with, you know.
I hear it on the radio though.
It's still something
Oldies
that
radio,
exists, yeah.
Monkey definitely gets
Okay,
spins.
but why is it getting spin? Because that's not the album cut.
Oh yeah.
Because they got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, formerly of the Prince's, you know, the Morris Day band at the time, but more importantly, the producers of Janet Jackson's album Control, like, can you remix this? Can you do this? And, like, they put the vocal hook front and center.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, like, it's kind of a fun, awesome little song.
Well, I especially love that they took the outro from that Beatles song and turned it into the chorus
Yeah.
because it was its own catchy thing. But again, like, Monkey is one of those moments where, like, the original parts that George Michael wrote for it are good enough to stand on their own.
Absolutely.
Like, obviously, the chorus is catchy as fuck and a huge part of why the song works, but those verses are solid.
Yeah.
And I like the album cut version. It's not as
It's
shit as the single, obviously, but I'm into it. I mean, honestly, this album is like a tour de force of pop songwriting. Like, you know,
he wrote a song called Father Figure, which is a psychologically complex little fucker of a song.
also,
it
he
is.
sings the shit out of it.
Yes, he
Like,
does.
And I mean, this album not only has some of his strongest songwriting, and it, you know, honestly, if I'm being frank, the hits on here aren't necessarily my favorite hits from his discography.
That
you
is
know,
fair.
there are
I
like
would agree.
random one-off singles that I
Fast
think are
Love.
more in Fast Love, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
But it's just the consistency here. You know, even the things that weren't massive hits, like I really like Hard Day. I think Hand to Mouth is this
It's
like
incredible.
really fun, understated
Story of
and
a
it's
prostitute.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
sort of a like it's very bleak.
It's very
but
visceral. It's incredible, yeah.
But the fact that it's still in this sort of like sensual production and
Yeah.
delivery
Yeah.
and like
It's
I
like-
love it.
Yeah,
I
sexy
also really like Look at Your Hands. Like I think it's just such a fun like it's about as good as you want an album cut to be. You know? If it was
have
any
no
better.
complaints about Faith. Like all of them, I agree with what you're saying. I love Faith. Like I Want Your Sex was so incredible. Like 1987, just yes. Also a big fan of Prince. So
Yeah.
like,
But also it's a
side
two-part
story.
song. So
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
that fucking horn section comes in on the second part,
Yeah, it's just like
I mean, you know, 9 minutes is a little much for me. I love the horn section in part 2.
yeah.
But both sections could be shorter if we're gonna have a single track.
Yeah,
And
sure.
like it doesn't
break up
change
the track,
enough to justify. Also, I think it's fun that in I Want Your Sex Part 2 we hear the chord structure that became Freedom. There's so many little callbacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I also know you love the part in Father Figure, that little keyboard thing at the end, that kind of
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't really talked about this that much yet, but he does it a lot on Older too. He brings in the like Eastern, melodic structure, that like Eastern scale where the steps are a little different and brings in that sort of like almost Arabian feel, which just makes it all the gayer in retrospect. But and he does that super well here. Also, the thing about Faith is the weakest moments for me are the ballads. I get One More Try. I get why people love it. It's just honestly, I think it's just too long for me.
Okay.
Like I'm into it and then I get bored. And then Kissing a Fool is sort of the same thing. So that's
Disagree.
what I'm saying is
yeah.
what I'm saying is even the weakest moments on here are some of his strongest ballads.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Across his
the
discography.
Kissing a Fool cover is one of those things where, like, this album is, like, so sprawling. Like, he goes from sex song to, anthemic song to ballad to things like that. That having kind of a classic crooner song at the end, weirdly enough, like, it makes sense because, like, he's kind of showing all of his different sides on here. Like, there's diversity within...
There's something for
the
everyone.
tones. Right.
With Faith.
Yeah, and when
It was
you
a
see-
4-quadrant hit,
Yeah.
yeah.
when you see Kissing on a Fool, it's like, then Songs from the Last Century makes that much more sense.
Yes.
You know?
But the Songs from the Last Century doesn't work as well because that's a whole album of basically the same tone.
Right.
Like, all the way throughout. And,
Right.
like, here, when you toss it in as just one song at the end, I'm like, okay. You know, like, I can be a part of that.
Right, but, and then, the only other weak moment for me is I Want Your Sex Part 3. Which, honestly, if the album just ended with Kissing a Fool, I would be totally fine, and I would still want to put it at number 1.
Yeah. Carmen?
I Want Your Sex for the whole album. There could have been multiple parts. I think
Part
it's just
8.
like part 4.
Yeah.
Part 16, I'm still fine with it. I think that's probably another lesbian versus gay thing. Our sex takes longer. It's a lot more lead up. I don't know. That's what my mama told me. I don't know.
We're learning so much tonight.
I did actually have that thought this week that, like, I Want Your Sex Parts 1 and Part 2 is approximately the length of, like, a quickie in a bathroom. So,
Sure.
You know, makes sense.
Yeah.
So adding on for his lesbian friends. It's
Yeah,
fine.
there we
We
go.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, George.
Thank you for the earrings. So, well, I think, we're raving about it right now. Is there anyone that's saying that Listen Without Prejudice would be the number 1?
No.
Carmen? No? Okay. Is there any other things you want to say about either album?
I mean, I think that we've covered, like, Mother's Pride was just such an incredible piece, for sure.
But for you, like... Is
Is there anything else on Faith?
Yeah.
Well, for Faith, I think so much was already covered. It was just one of those things, like Faith itself, and I know we're not really talking about videos, but, like, that video...
Of Faith?
Of Faith.
Yeah.
Is so incredible, and to see him without his floppy hair and with beard and with...
As that ass, girl.
That ass. Also, those were his own jeans. He was so broke, and it's so incredible that, like, this gave him all his money. Like, a good start of it.
Yeah.
And
1 Grammy for Album of the Year.
And, you know, like, I went to the hairdresser and get that hair.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things, like, it's so incredible. Back when MTV showed videos, it was a really different time. So it's just one of those things that loops in. I can see the videos playing throughout this whole album. Where a lot of, later on,
There's
you
a
don't
big
really
visual
get
element.
to see. Yeah, there's a visual for me in this.
Because they kept making goddamn videos for
Right.
it. Yeah. By the time it's Monkey, it's him in front of, like, a studio backdrop and then shots of the crowd going fucking insane.
Yes.
There are a lot of videos that are like that. I kept trying to be like, I like this song. What's the video? Oh, it's him in front of a white background, interspersed with shots of their live shows. Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've seen this video. I get it. Okay, can
All
we
right.
lock it in?
Let's go ahead, guys. Let's go and do it. We're talking about number 7, Fantastic by Wham. Number 8, Make It Big by Wham. Number 6, Make It Big by Wham. Number 5, Music from the Edge of Heaven, also by Wham. We're done with Wham at that point. Number 4 is Older. Number 3 is Patience. Number 2 is Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. And number 1, we all knew it was coming, The Final. It is the best Wham album, and it has everything you want in one place. I'm kidding. No, it's Faith by George Michael. So, guys, listen, we just went ahead, we ranked the entire discographies of both Wham and George Michael. We clearly have a lot more to say. That's why we have a happy hour minisode. And I have so many questions I want to toss out there and stories to tell. But in the meantime, though, Carmen, thank you.
Thank you.
So
This
much
is so much fun.
for being here. I know. I'm so glad we got to talk about George Michael with you. Like, legit. It's a dream.
Every time someone wants to, I'm totally down for that.
Find her on that Tom Daly Instagram account, the Daily Daily. Most importantly, though, I want to know what you guys, the fans and listeners at home, think. Please find us on our Facebook. Leave us a message. There's also the Chartographers at gmail.com. If you want to say, like, you're wrong, please, we'll read that email and then delete it. And also, if you can do us a favor, rank us on iTunes, because the more rankings we have, the better visibility it is. People see the show, which is great. And also follow us on SoundCloud and Stitcher and all the other goddamn places you get your podcasts for free. In the meantime, though, thank you so much. Keep on listening, because you know that we will be. Have a good one. Goodbye! Woo!
Man, I thought that I could myself.
Hey, this is Kyle Hawk from It's All Dead, a podcast about the music we love and why we love it. Our show is a free-flowing conversation featuring a rotating cast of guests, including musicians, music journalists, and music enthusiasts, sharing how the music is still alive and well. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app, and then come visit us at itsalldead.com.